Wendi Adelson had absolutely nothing to do with the plot to eliminate her ex-husband Dan Markel. If there's any doubt, her mind on that point is an impenetrable steel trap. On different details, her mind is more like a hamster cage made of paper clips. Trial after trial.
I honestly don't remember.
Time after time.
I don't remember exactly.
Detail after detail.
I don't remember if I did or not. I don't remember that, no.
Her responses are repeated. Wendi simply doesn't recall. It's all a part of the delicate dance she's doing, designed to avoid incriminating herself without perjuring herself. She's got gaps in her memory big enough to drive a Prius through, and it appears she's been careful so far. But did she ever slip up on the stand? Did she, in fact, finance the hit on her ex-husband? Wendi has watched as one by one suspects became convicts. Will she be the next murderous animal picked off the herd by a lioness called Georgia Cappleman? Have a seat, practice your icy gaze, and tilt your head so we know you're listening, because this is absolutely criminal.
You are testifying today under a state subpoena, correct?
Correct.
And that state subpoena gives you immunity for your testimony, right?
Yes.
Can you explain to the jury, since you're an attorney, what immunity is?
Immunity is freedom from prosecution.
So that means that anything you say today can't be used against you if the state decides to arrest you later on.
The state isn't going to decide to arrest me.
Will that snippet of Wendi Adelson's testimony a half-dozen years ago age like Borden milk or bullet bourbon? Perhaps we'll know in another 6 years. What never gets old is watching prosecutor Georgia Cappleman go at it with Donna's daughter. Wendi Adelson has testified in a quartet of trials for the murder of her ex and struck a deal with the state in order to do so. Under the limited immunity agreement, nothing she says on the stand can be used against her if she's ever charged. It does not protect her from future prosecution, although any evidence used would have to be wholly independent. Before we journey down wily Wendy's windy road, we need to map the many dead ends and roadblocks along the way. Over the course of 4 trials in 6 years, each defendant's defense has shifted to best explain away their involvement. As new facts were cemented into the record, strategies meandered around these barriers as best they could, but they often had an unavoidable head-on collision with logic. First up were triggerman Sigfredo Garcia and his kid's mom, and sometimes girlfriend, Katherine Magbanua. She was the criminal conduit to Charlie Adelson, providing the periodontist with a perpetrator. This photo of the two commemorates a special milestone between the brief beloveds. On Halloween night in 2013, they skipped third base and went all the way to murder for hire. That was the night of their first date, and he popped the big proposal. Did she know anyone willing to kill his brother-in-law for cash? She said yes, 1,000 times yes, or undoubtedly something similar. It was then the couple consummated their unholy underworld affair, and it would link them for life. Okay, so we got a little swept off our feet there for a moment by the dreamy Dr. Chuck. But back to the deviating defenses. Garcia and Magbanua were tried together in 2019, one of the worst uses of the buddy system. They would each point their finger at different culprits, but the 3 pointing back were more than enough to do at least one of them in. Sigfredo Garcia leaned mainly on the lack of physical evidence presented and blamed the murder squarely on Luis Rivera. They attempted to blow holes in the state's case and season the unreasonable doubt to make it easier on the jurors' palate. Ultimately, however, it would be too much for them to swallow, and they returned a verdict of guilty. Magbanua's team deflected the attention away from their client and toward the Adelsons, claiming the real culprits aren't even in the courtroom. They argued that Charlie and Mama Donna, the code talkers recorded on wiretaps after an undercover operation, did not implicate Katie during their calls. She also decried the dearth of DNA and other physical evidence and took the stand to explain that her sudden influx of stapled C notes was completely legitimate income. Additionally, she only discovered the murder plot well after the fact. When defense gave way to deliberation, the doubt was sufficient to win over 2 of the 12 jurors, hanging the panel and resulting in a mistrial. Georgia Cappleman and friends would opt to retry her 3 years later, and a fresh group of jurors would reach a unanimous agreement in the second go-around. In her 2022 retrial, the prosecution sliced through her story in much the same way, but with newly sharpened implements. For one, their financials became far more detailed, denoting over $17,000 deposited within 6 weeks after the murder.
You said that you were working in liquor promotions. What's the name of the company that you worked for?
I was trying to remember it. You guys didn't pull any records for that either?
You have bank records from Encore Worldwide and CO. Is that where you worked for liquor promotions?
That was way back. That was way back. I did other promotions for, I believe, Absolute. I cannot think of
what's
the
name
other
of the
two.
company that you worked for?
I
that
can't
bring you
recall.
These paychecks?
I can't recall.
The sum included payroll checks from the Adelson Institute signed by family matriarch Donna Adelson. The state also had time to enhance a poor-quality hidden camera recording of Katherine and Charlie discussing murderous details over lunch at the crowded and noisy Dolce Vita restaurant in Miami Beach.
You just say, I don't know. And all what's going on, I was just called by a very shaken old lady. She was scared. And I told them that, we're going to try to help these people. But that you don't use anything other than the words help and charity. And that you're going to ask that you leave these people alone where they are going to police. That's all I was able to do.
The cleaned-up audio was a particularly devastating blow to her defense, and Magbanua was convicted on all counts, including Luis Rivera's early guilty plea in exchange for a 19-year sentence. A trio of troublemakers were now serving long prison stints. With Dan Markel's killers and the go-between now locked away, prosecutors shifted their focus. Turns out Katherine Magbanua was telling the truth about one thing: the real culprits could be found in the Adelson crime family. Charlie Adelson was arrested and went on trial in 2023, accused of financing the hit. He didn't deny the murder-for-hire machinery existed. He couldn't. That had been set in stone during the first 2 trials. But he wasn't the diabolical dentist designing Dan Markel's demise. He was merely a paranoid pawn, paying protection money after the deed was already done. The killers apparently shot first and asked questions later, all in the hopes of scoring a repeated payday by threatening to frame him for the murder. The state dubbed it extortion on layaway, and as defenses go, it was certainly unique. Charlie Adelson took the stand in his own trial in an effort to bolster his dubious defense. Far from a mastermind, he was merely the mark.
I'm freaking out because I thought it was Sigfredo. Then I'm hearing all this stuff about this guy Tato, his name is Luis Rivera. Everything seeming real. I was extorted. Now my mom's getting extorted. Katie's telling me she doesn't think it's Tato or his people. He wouldn't do it like this. He would have done it the way it happened to me. She's telling me that she thinks it's a copycat of the of one of Tato's, someone who knows Tato and is doing a copycat on him and doing their own extortion, or it's probably she thinks it's the police.
Katherine Magbanua broke the news to Charlie after the murder. He and his family were next if he didn't cough up all the cash. Eventually, monthly, that's fine. Just make sure you have Mom put me on the payroll so there's a record with my name on it.
And she said, listen, this is all my fault, but I had no idea anything was going to happen, but this is totally my fault. I spoke in too much detail about your family's personal problems, about your sister, Dan Markel, and the $1 million offer.
What did you say?
I'm like, what are you talking about? And she's like, my friend killed Dan, and he wants to be paid $1/3
How did you react?
I was like, what did you just say? And she's like, my friend killed Dan, and he wants you to pay $1/3.
The jury was not persuaded and convicted him on all counts, a result which seemed to surprise nobody in the room except for Charlie.
The State of Florida versus Charles Adelson, case number 2016 CF 3036B, verdict. Count 1. We, the jury, find as follows as to count 1 of the indictment, first-degree murder. The defendant is guilty of first-degree murder. Count 2. We, the jury, find as follows as to count 2 of the indictment, conspiracy to commit first-degree murder. The defendant is guilty of conspiracy to commit first-degree murder. Count 3. We, the jury, find as follows as to count 3 of the indictment, solicitation to commit first-degree murder. The defendant is guilty of solicitation to commit first-degree murder. So say we all this 6th day of November, 2023.
You can actually pinpoint the second his heart rips in half. And a final note on Charlie. He now lives in a cage of concrete and steel with a toilet sink combo and now appreciates the simpler things in life. The high point of his last month, and likely his entire stay, was eating fast food in the back of a prison van. On his way back to the jail, the guard stopped across the street to buy him a burger and fries from, where else? Wendy's. Which is fun, because his sister Wendi drove the bus that his own mother threw him under.
Charlie, yes, sir. We are across the street from the jail. I'll go as slow as I can, but you eat what you. I ain't gonna. You eat it all. I'm not gonna take you out the van until you're done. You good? Oh my God.
The Adelsons go above and beyond to protect their own, right up until shit gets real. Then it's every man and woman for themselves, because an Adelson always wins, until they lose everything. The latest responsible party in Dan Markel's murder you need to know about before we get to Wendi is her dear mother, Donna. We've detailed her demise in several recent episodes, which you can view in the playlist currently linked on screen. If you want to stay up to date on everything Adelson, please hit the like button below this video and be sure to subscribe so you don't miss a thing. For now, we will show you 2 of the best moments of her trial, starting with the reading of the verdicts by Judge Stephen Everett. Just like Sonny Boy before her, Donna was the only one in the courtroom truly surprised.
Having reviewed the verdict form, it is in its proper order. At this time, I will publish the verdict. We, the jury, find as follows as to count 1 of the indictment, first-degree murder. The defendant is guilty of first-degree murder. Mrs. Adelson, control yourself. Count 2. We, the jury, find as follows as to count 2 of the indictment, conspiracy to commit first-degree murder. The defendant is guilty of conspiracy to commit first-degree murder. Count 3. We, the jury, find as follows as to count 3 of the indictment, solicitation to commit first-degree murder. The defendant is guilty of solicitation to commit first-degree murder.
And second, Dan Markel's parents were afforded the opportunity to present victim impact statements just minutes after her comeuppance. They both spoke with a remarkable elegance, expressing feelings they've been waiting over a decade to unleash. His father's grief and restrained righteous anger were palpable as he spoke, and we will let his words speak for themselves.
Judge Everett, I appreciate the opportunity to speak about the impact of Donna Adelson's actions on my families and the families of so many others. While this victim impact statement is addressed to you, Your Honor, it is also intended for the Adelson family, Harvey, Charlie, Wendi, and particularly Donna. I would like them to understand and reflect on the deep and irreparable damage they have caused. The pain that they have caused my family is obvious and permanent, but they have also caused lifelong harm to their own immediate family and so many other families and children around. Donna's selfishness, cruelty, and complete disrespect for human life, along with that of her co-conspirators, have left families forever broken. Louis Rivera, his children have no father. Katherine Magbanua and Sigfredo Garcia, their children have no parents. Charlie Adelson, his son, Roman, has no father. Rob Adelson and his wife and their 2 children have lost their uncle and grandparents. Shelley and Ian, my daughter, their 3 children, my grandchildren, are left without an uncle and are separated from their cousins. Of course, their heinous and callous actions have left me, Ruth, and Shelley without our Danny, and Ben and Lincoln without their father. For anyone to commit such a cold-blooded, unprovoked act of murder is horrific. For Donna, someone who claims to care so much about Ben and Lincoln, her sun shines. Her actions are beyond comprehension. She has harmed forever the people she claims to have loved. In the Jewish custom, we have an expression to always wish others to live to 120 years of age. For Donna, I wish her to live to 120, alone in her jail cell. I wish that every day of her remaining days, she thinks about the harm she has caused to so many, especially those 2 boys she claims to have loved so much. For these reasons, Your Honor, I ask the court sentence Donna Adelson to the maximum possible sentence. And my only short question to Donna, was it worth it? Respectfully, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Markel.
It once felt to us that no immediate Adelson family member was going to be held accountable, and certainly not Wendi. Then in 2022, Charlie was arrested and subsequently convicted the next year. On that very evening, his mother Donna was overheard discussing what she claimed was a mental health getaway with her husband Harvey. After researching online a list of countries with no extradition treaty with the U.S., they just happened to plan their trip to one of those countries. After obtaining emergency visas, they purchased 2 tickets to Vietnam. Unfortunately for the couple, the Asian country's national banner wasn't the only red flag involved in their plans. By far, the flappiest one was the lack of a round-trip date. We just wonder when she would have told Charlie. We learned specific details about their bid to bolt on a recorded phone call in which she wept to her son. At a certain point, Charlie was dropped from the line. The grieving grandma was so distraught she forgot to hang up the phone, then proceeded to make her permanent vacation plans.
Shit. You can't hear me again, right? Charlie? Charlie, can you hear me? Can you hear me? I'm sorry. The fourth time that they cut the line each time. The fourth. What? I mean, I'm sure he'll call back or just keep getting disconnected. Look, got to make a decision at some point. So after speaking to Dan this morning and knowing what they're thinking up there, and I don't know if we'll make it out in time. I really don't. But Dan said, you might, or you might do all of it, get to the airport, and they'll stop us. And that could happen. It could happen. I don't know, but it's worth a try.
All this bumbling made easy work for listening law enforcement, and Donna was arrested at the airport before the dental duo could disappear. Harvey, her husband of half a century, could only watch as she was led away in cuffs. And suddenly, Wendy's eventual arrest didn't seem so outlandish after all. What follows is a small best-of compilation of Wendi versus Georgia. But you really owe it to yourself to see the complete collection if you've never had the pleasure. It's challenging to select highlights when the entire hours-long affair is a highlight. Links are in the description. Wendy's gotten more accustomed to the hot seat over the years, but she looked like a frightened deer while waiting to take her first questions in 2019. But it wasn't long before she settled in and told the infamous hitman joke.
Did he ever joke about he looked into hiring a hitman, but buying you a TV as a divorce present would be cheaper?
He did make that joke. He tended to repeat himself, and sometimes he would make jokes that weren't very funny about all kinds of things.
All right. And was that TV, did he buy you a TV as a divorce present?
He did.
And was that TV the same TV that was being repaired at your residence at the time that your husband was murdered?
It was.
Who made the arrangements for that TV repair?
I did.
Your mom didn't make those arrangements?
I don't believe so.
Based on what we know now, that response does appear to be less than truthful. She's asked the same question 3 years later, new trial, same outfit, same answer, but a little different once her memory is refreshed.
And did your mother, Donna Adelson, arrange from Miami for the Geek Squad to come to your home that morning to fix the TV? Would it refresh your recollection to review some text messages regarding that issue?
Yeah, I don't really understand. It's my best recollection that I set up the appointment for them to come.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes this happens now where there's a different number on the account, so they call the wrong account. So they could have called my mom and she would have said, no, call my daughter. They need to confirm with you.
Okay, but your mom does indicate that she is sending the guy to
No,
you.
she indicates that she was called by Best Buy.
Mm-hmm.
So that means she was called by accident since they were coming to my house.
That was from Magbanua's retrial, and compared to her shaky start in 2019, Wendi strutted in much more confidently. Georgia asked Wendi about a celebration, not celebration dinner with her brother a month post-murder. Watch closely and see if you can spot anything unusual during her answers.
Was the dinner intended to be a celebration of the fact that your husband was murdered?
Absolutely not.
Did your brother refer to it as a celebration?
I highly doubt that.
Could that have been one of his jokes that was in bad taste?
He may have been celebrating the fact that I was willing to leave the house.
Right. Were you involved in the plot to kill your husband?
Absolutely not.
Did you have knowledge of the plot to kill your husband?
No.
Did you see it? We've never seen someone so consistently nod their head when replying in the negative. We've tried it, and it takes a lot of concentration.
Absolutely not. I highly doubt that. Absolutely not. No.
Near the end of her testimony in the retrial, Wendi got heated.
Do you want the culpable parties in this murder held accountable?
Absolutely.
And even if it involves your own family?
Absolutely.
Do you recall giving an interview with law enforcement on the day that your ex-husband was murdered?
I recall sitting with law enforcement for 6 hours. Yes, I recall.
And did you tell law enforcement something different in that interview about the culpability of your family?
I'm sure while I sat for 6 hours completely traumatized that I said all kinds of things.
All right. And was one of the things you said while you sat for 6 hours completely traumatized that you wanted the culpable parties held accountable unless it was your family?
I don't believe I phrased it like that, and I think you're taking my words out of context, but sure.
But sure?
But sure what?
No further questions.
If only we all could be as but sure as Wendi Adelson, a narrator can dream. But just 1 year later, Georgia Cappleman was hoping to hook her biggest fish yet, Charlie Adelson. Perhaps the big moment meant big anxiety for his sister. As she sat down and began her testimony, it appeared as if she'd raided her brother's Xanax cabinet.
Ma'am, please say and spell your name.
Wendi Adelson, Wendiadelson.
Where are you from, Ms. Adelson?
I'm originally from Coral Springs, Florida.
And where do you live now?
I currently live in Miami.
And are you here today pursuant to a subpoena?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And that subpoena confers use and derivative use immunity to, so nothing you say could be used against you in the future.
That is correct.
Okay. That doesn't mean you have full immunity from prosecution, but nothing you say here and nothing derived from it could be used in that prosecution. Is that your understanding?
That is my understanding.
Okay.
Wendy was asked about the clever little nicknames her mom had for Dan, and the trip down memory lane appealed to Charlie's inner 12-year-old.
Did your mom call Dan any disparaging names around this time frame?
Well, I just read them in the emails, but
Okay.
I don't remember them independently.
Okay. Did she call him an asshole?
Yes.
A narcissist?
Yes.
Bully?
Yes.
Religious zealot?
Yes.
Bastard?
That I don't remember.
Page 5.
Okay. Is it page 5 from the first email?
Yes, if you'll just go through by the physical pages.
I see. Yes.
I'm sorry, what was your answer?
Yes.
Fucker?
Yes.
But in all the filings made on your behalf by the different lawyers that you had, and all of the emails that your mom sent, he was never described as abusive.
I mean, he was described as emotionally abusive, yes.
Can you show me where he was described as emotionally abusive in any of those items?
Well, not by my mom, but in the pleadings.
Okay, show me that.
It's going to take me a while to find it.
Okay, well, it's not in there, but you can get back to me.
Well, it is in there.
So would you have to review the whole file in order to find that, or could you give us a starting point of which filing it might be located in?
It might be under the petition to relocate. It might be under the initial divorce proceedings. Okay. It wouldn't be in emails from my mom, but it would take a while to find it. It might be in the depositions.
Might be under the rainbow, might be in the Xanax cabinet.
The husband has made it difficult for the wife with her colleagues at her current position due to his statements and actions. And the husband's intent is to relocate to a larger area at some point. So the wife is merely stuck in Tallahassee until the husband decides that the time is right for him to leave.
All right.
Meaning,
had he accepted a job anywhere else by the time that he was murdered?
No, he hadn't yet been offered a job, but he was always looking.
Okay. So he was just going to move and just let you have the kids at that point?
He probably would have done what I did, which is have a conversation and see if it was a place that made sense for both of us to live.
And would you have moved to wherever he got a great job and started a new life there?
Potentially, yeah.
Okay. Did you like Tallahassee?
I did.
Well, we're convinced, but the answer came off more like a question. Let's have a little more emotion. Georgia rounds out Wendy's time in Charlie's trial with one big question.
Do you want the culpable parties held accountable for murdering the father of your children?
Absolutely. I'm grateful they're already in jail.
But not if it's your family.
It's not my family.
I mean, somebody hired him, right?
Not necessarily.
Somebody paid him.
I learned something this morning.
Yeah, me too. You didn't want him held accountable if it was your family members. Didn't you tell law enforcement that?
That's not what I told law enforcement.
What did you tell law enforcement?
I told them that the person who did this should be held responsible and that I had nothing to do with it.
Page 122, lines 7 through 12. If somebody tried to kill my ex-husband, they should be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. The investigator says regardless of who it is, and your answer is, I mean, it would be different if I thought it were my brother.
But I don't think it was my family, is what I said.
Different now, isn't it?
No, it's not different. That's exactly
Different
what I
today,
said
isn't
right
it?
here. No, that's not
No
right.
further questions.
After helping to lock up her brother, Wendi made an encore appearance to doing her mom. She literally spent more than half her testimony not remembering or having her memory refreshed. One of the most egregious examples came when she was again asked about all the names her and her mom called Dan Markel. If only Charlie could have been there, he'd have been so proud.
Did you refer to him as an STD?
I don't remember saying that.
Tab 5.
It looks like I made that analogy.
Danny is an STD. One wrong mistake marrying him, and this will never go away. Is that what you said?
I did.
And did you share that kind of sentiment with your mother?
I don't remember ever saying that, so I don't think it's something I said very often.
Did you ever refer to your ex-husband as the Dark Lord?
I don't remember saying that, but I certainly might have.
Did you refer to your ex-husband as Gibbers?
I did.
What is the meaning of Gibbers?
Gibbers was just a silly name that a friend helped me come up with to basically make him feel less scary. It was nonsense.
Did it reference Jew in boots?
That I don't remember.
It wasn't a friendly name, right?
It was a silly name.
Did you ever say that you hated Dan Markel?
I don't remember saying it, but I certainly could have.
Tab 31, please, to refresh your memory.
I said that I hate him in this moment.
Okay. And did you say in that email, that same email, quote, I hate my children's dad?
I did.
Did you ever refer to your ex-husband, Dan Markel, as an emotional terrorist?
I very well could have. I don't remember saying that, but
That one's on tab 34.
I said it in December of 2013.
So with 5 down, are there 2 more to go? Most of the public following this case have been clamoring for years now to have Wendi taken into custody. Harvey is also on their wish list, but it remains to be seen if one, both, or neither of them will go down for the murder of Dan Markel. As Georgia Cappleman said when asked the Wendi question after her latest victory.
Stay tuned.
For Absolutely Criminal, I'm Tiffie Lou, reminding you to check your pictures, refresh your memory, hang up your fucking phone, and let the darkness come alive.